back just like I said I would. So I'm here getting ready to do this video on just a little bit about my past. I'm going to give a little bit because I have to have something available for the book, okay? So I'll give a snippet, and then for the rest, you got to buy the book. So I hope everybody is doing well. Please get you a glass of wine like I have done. And sit down, Merlot. It's an acquired taste. But sit down, have a seat. Have a seat. This is not gonna be right quick. I don't plan on rushing, but I just got a few little things to just throw at y'all and see who catch it. So, for anybody that don't know me, my name is Dana Matthews. That is my real name, and I am 41 years old. I just turned 41 in October. Well, this month on the 2nd, beginning of the month. I am the youngest of six kids. Um, let's see what else. I am from Arkansas, Benton, Arkansas. That is always where I will be from. So, a few years from now, when I get my Wikipedia, because I will, I need y'all to help me keep them straight on that. I'm not from Little Rock. I am from Benton, Arkansas. That will always be where I am from. So, let's see what else. I am a mother of 3 that I birthed. I have 2 bonus children from marriage. And what else? My husband is 12 years older than me. Yes, I like that. What else? I think I don't know. I think that kind of hit it. I'm a hairstylist, salon owner. I've had my salon 10 years. I'm actually transitioning over to a sacred space for women now. And specialize in natural hair. Probably figured that out already. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah. So, with that being said, we're moving right along. So, a little bit about me. Growing up in Arkansas, from the country, very small town. Something that people don't really like to talk about, but it is very prevalent in black households. I don't know about everybody else, but it be happening in ours, whether we want to talk about it or not. But I experienced a lot, as a kid growing up. Um, Let me just go and throw it out there and get the elephant out the room. I was molested as a child by somebody that I knew, um, family member. Let's see, I'm trying to speak and protect the innocent. However, it is a part of my story, so I really don't know how to do that. But that is a part of my life. So let's just, and we'll keep the details for the book. How about that? So that is, as I go through my shadow work and iron out and map out the things that I feel like have made me into who I am today, and the things that I have to go within and address and fix. I believe that kind of started from that time or that season in my life when I was going through that. And it really made me look at me in a certain way. And I'm learning a lot about that right now. It's amazing how things that can happen to you when you are, I don't know, 7 years old, you dealing with it, at 41 years old. And I tell anybody, whatever it is, that you have gone through as a child, those things that you can bury it all you want to, and you can try, and you can fake it till you feel like you're gonna make it. I don't know, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to address it. It's going to show up in your life in some way, form, or fashion. And I've learned that, and I'm definitely dealing with it. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. And I can just now map out the events of my life and my relationships, and I can still see how that season in my life dictated a lot of decisions that I made along the way. So, just like, a lot of people out here, I done been through some shit, um, and like we do, we push forward, we move forward, and we try to get over it. How about that? So, let's see what else. So, coming from that, at a very young age, I was now I know I was seeking some level of validation or care or concern or whatever that may be. I was looking for something from somebody of the opposite sex. And I ended up getting married at 16 years old. And I know it's crazy. It sounds crazy. A lot of people are like, what's your mom say? But she did sign the paper. There was a paper that had to be signed. And she did sign it. She told me why later on. But she did sign the paper. And I'll tell you the reason why she said it in the book. So, but she did sign it. I did get married at 16. I was 16 years old, going to school, trying to keep my grades up, get perfect attendance, and be a wife, cook, clean, do all those things. And I was getting my ass whooped every day. How about that? So, I was in a very, very abusive relationship or marriage at 16. And my husband at the time was 4 years older than me. 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah. Yeah. I think he was 4 years older than me. And it was a hard time for me. I think I jumped out there and was being grown, making decisions, and I feel like at the time I felt like I was making the right move, but I quickly learned that I was out there without a paddle, and I had to learn how to swim. So I was in a abusive relationship and trying to still grow up because I was 16. So at that point I was raising myself, and in the midst of all of that, trying to deal with everything that was going on at the moment. It was a mess. I mean, I have so many stories to tell about just little incidents that happened. But my husband at the time, my ex-husband at the time, he was very, very overbearing. He was jealous. He was abusive. Um, and I'm learning now, that people do things based on the information, knowledge, and understanding and maturity that they have at that moment in their life. So, anybody that has ever done anything to me from childhood all the way up until last week, today, I take everything with a grain of salt because I understand that people will and deal based on their level of knowledge, information, understanding, maturity in areas and situations. So I try not to hold anything against anybody because I don't want anybody to hold anything against me, especially if there's something that I'm still learning, I don't understand, and it's making me be a certain type of way, and I just don't know. I'm ignorant to the fact, or whatever the case may be. Just be patient with me. Because I'm definitely being patient with people. Because when I tell you, I get asked to kiss left and right, but it is what it is. Um, so bless his heart, he tried, but real close with no cigar. You know what I'm saying? It was just a mess. But I do remember a couple times. I mean, and when I tell y'all, when I tell you he was a jealous hot mess, like this man literally had me keeping a journal. Like I had to write down my daily activities so he can read it, in the evenings. And I had to wear men clothes. We shopped at the same store. He wanted me to wear baggy stuff, like anything that like was any type of anything. I could not wear that. Um, it was just a lot. When I tell you, I remember this one time. Um, we were in the car, and you know how you pull up to a red light and you just kind of look to the side or whatever. You check your surroundings, make sure ain't nobody trying to come up on you and open the door and rob you or some shit. So we were in the car, and we stopped at a red light. So I look around, check my surroundings, and all I know is this nigga took the back of my head, wham, hit it on the dashboard. Right? I'm like, what is wrong with you? So he was like, I saw you looking at that dude on the next car, and I'm just like, are you serious? So I literally rode the rest of the way home with my head down, like down. When I say down, like down to where I'm just like looking at my shoes. It was just a mess. But I think about stuff like that. I'm like, dang, like how did I get through it? I remember this one time. It's so crazy because we had just got through having sex. I mean, we all grown on here, right? Okay, good. So we had just got through having sex or whatever, and we both butt naked or whatever. And our house was just like anybody that know. I was living in Malvern at the time, so anybody that's on here that's from Arkansas, y'all know who Malvern is. Okay, so I was living in Malvern at the time. Anybody that's from Malvern know that little white and green house that I'm talking about on North Bank Street. It ain't no bigger than like an average size living room, like the whole house. But so we were like just had to got through having sex or whatever, and we got into it about something. I mean, and it was usually like something really stupid and unnecessary. So we got into it or whatever, and he was in the kitchen just going off, just cussing me out, just doing a whole lot. And I'm in the living room, and there's a front door. The front door is in the living room, and then the back door I would have had to pass him to go out the back door. I would have had to pass through the kitchen. So he going off and, oh yeah, that's it. I'm finna kill you. And he, tussling around with a knife block trying to get the biggest and baddest knife that he can find in there. And I had a choice to make. Either I was going to sit here and try to fight this dude with this knife, or I was going to run out the front door butt naked. So what I ended up doing was I made my mind up that I was going to run out the front door butt naked. Like, I mean, all you was going to see is ass and elbows. I was just going to truck it on down. And at the time, I was, I liked track. I was into that. And I wasn't shabby with it either. Check your folks. Anybody that's on here that remember Dana running track, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I wasn't shabby at all. So, and he wasn't going to catch me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead. I'll run out butt naked. I mean, it is what it is at this point. It's my life I'm talking about. So when I tell you karma was immediate, because this nigga sit up here and cut himself. So it went from I'm going to kill you to take me to the hospital. So at that point, y'all know what it is, right? I went on and got my clothes together and threw something on, and I hightailed it to my sister's house across town. I ran the whole way. Thank you, track instructor, coach. So, but yeah, so that was just, I mean, when I tell you, oh, there's so many stories. I mean, this nigga he done put me out the car while I was running. He done, pick me up, drop me on my head. Um, it was just so many different things. I can't even, like, it was just a lot. So, fast forward, I ended up getting away from him. I moved to Texas with my aunt. She was allowed me to stay with her while I tried to finish up school or whatever, and he ended up moving out there. So I ended up getting back with him. You know how dudes do. They come and they sweet talk you. They do a lot of damage control. They tell you they ain't gonna do it again, and they sweet talk you. They get you back in. I mean, here I am. I'm young or whatever the case may be. I fall for it. So moved back in together, and not shortly after, everything started back. Same thing, different place, different state. So I got to the point to where I was really tired, and this is when I realized that I was crazy as hell. So One day, I was coming from school and I had drove the car to school because at that time, I was in 12th grade by then. So, I drove the car to school. So I came home. I was sat in the car and I was just tired. Like when I tell you, I was exhausted, like emotionally exhausted with the whole situation. We fought and argued like every other day, and at this point, we hadn't argued, or we hadn't fought. We would argue, but we hadn't fought, like physically fought, in about 2 weeks. That was a really long time for us. That's like equivalent to like 2 years. So I was like, dog, we haven't physically fought in a minute, and I know when it come, it's gonna come. So when I went inside, I was just kind of like out of it or whatever. And he had asked me, he was like, "You want something from Sonic?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I just bust out crying. And he was like, "What's wrong with you? I ain't touched you. I ain't did nothing to you," or whatever the case may be. And I was like, "Yeah, you haven't, but I'm tired. Like I don't want to be here anymore." And at that moment, I made my mind up that I was over it. I was over it because I knew without a, and this is when I knew I was crazy. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that if he put his hands on me one more time, I was going to kill him. And I was serious about that. I didn't care what was going to happen after that. I didn't even think that far. But I know I was serious and it scared the shit out of me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I have a choice to make. Either I sit here and wait for it because it's coming, or I go ahead and just get my shit and get out of here. Because if he put his hands on me one more time, it's over. So I was like, okay. I decided I was going to leave. He called his parents up. They came up. They tried to talk to me and stuff, and it was falling on deaf ears because I had already made my mind up. And we know when our mind is thoroughly made up as a woman, it's thoroughly made up. Like there's nothing you're gonna be able to do to change it. So I ended up getting out of there. I asked a lady that I worked with at the time. I worked at Steinmart. I asked her, and she was from Arkansas, and God rest her soul, she was my best friend. And she let me live with her until I finished school. And when I finished school, I went back home. So I graduated, finished school, everything. I went back home to Arkansas and tried to get myself back together. And in the midst of that, I had started, kind of talking to somebody else. I wasn't legally divorced at the time, but, I was young. So I was just trying to, still feel my way through things and, how a divorce would, works and, those things. But, of course, I'm living my best life. And this dude shows up at my mom's house. And he caught wind that I was talking to someone, and he was very upset about that. So we ended up getting into it. He hit me right here. I have a scar right here where, just right over my brow bone here, where he had ended up hitting me, and it was pretty bad. I mean, like, it was a mess. It was blood everywhere. He was just really trying to just get deep off in the business, figure out who I'm talking to, and it just was, the conversation wasn't going the way that he intended. So, he threw a grown man tantrum. So we know when grown men throw tantrums, and if they got it in them, they gonna swing. So, so he swung, and I mean, and when I tell you I was blowing blood clots through my nose, I don't even know how that even happened because the cut was up here, but all of this up in here was just congested with blood clots. I don't even know how that happened. But anyway, if y'all do, somebody drop it in the comments, explain that shit to me because I never figured it out. But all I could see was red. My brother ended up coming home, and I'm looking at my brother like, do something, like, don't you see what's going on here? And then at that time, he put out a gun, and it was just a whole weird situation. My brother's friend ended up trying to come over to the house, and we ended up going to his house so he can clean my face up and stuff. And my husband ended up leaving, and if the guy that came over with my brother is on here, because he is on my Instagram, drop something in the comments. But But yeah, so it was just a whole mess. You know what I'm saying? I ended up having a black eye. I mean, it was awful. And I was a manager at a clothing store at the time, so I'm going to work with shades, and it was just at that time I knew I really had to do something different. So, I ended up formally getting a divorce, and that was over. Um, so, leading up to me moving forward from that was it was a hard situation, but I made it through. So after that, um, pulled myself together, and then I started to got everything situated, and I started dating again. And this particular time, now mind you, I never handled anything. I never mentally handled what I had been through with him. So all of that baggage from the molestation, um, attaching myself to a man by any means necessary, the domestic violence and all of that whole marriage, never dealt with any of it. I just um, packed my bags, my emotional uh, trauma bags, and I moved right on to the next relationship with them. And of course, I'm dealing with somebody that has their own baggage, so it was a recipe for disaster. I got with my next male counterpart, which is my daughter's dad, my oldest daughter's dad. And I met him in Arkansas. I ended up moving back to Virginia, well, moving to Virginia with him. Um, and it turned out to be a hot mess. Realized a lot of things had happened that I didn't realize was really just something that, okay, let me just put it like this. Um, he had a lot of unfinished business, and it filtered over into the relationship. So I ended up finding out, I was pregnant. They cheating on me, and it was just a lot going on. He got caught up with what I won't say caught up, but his friends in Virginia at the time. People know. It was a well-known producer there, um, a very happy producer. If you know anything about Virginia and you know anything about music, you would know who I'm talking about. But there was a group, yeah, I guess you could call it a group. I don't know, it was duo, brothers that were rappers that he was very, very close with, and he was traveling over the road with them, and um, got caught up in over the road travels and all the things that come with those. So yeah, it wasn't good. So shortly after I had my daughter, we ended up splitting up, and in the meantime, we had our bouts with, domestic violence. He had his fair share. Now, mind you, this dude is 6'8", um, and several hundred pounds. He was a security guard and bouncer at a club, so he wasn't a small guy at all. And it showed when he handled me sometimes. So yeah, I've had concussions, I've been choked out, um, all of those things, and while I'm holding my daughter, and just different things, that happened. I remember one time, when I was trying to leave him when I was still pregnant, he had decided that he wanted to basically kidnap me from work and drive me back to Arkansas, going full speed, and scared the shit out of me, because I was like, if the police stop us, I'm going to act like I am actively in labor so I can get out of here. But where's the police when you need them? Because nobody put us over, and anything like that. So I end up having to use my gift of gab and talk him down from the crazy tree. So talked him down, ended up getting back to the house or whatever. And I mean, it when I tell you it was just a lot, I realized that once again, I found myself in a place. a sunken place, and I had to make a decision. And I made the decision to go ahead and leave. At this time, I'm all the way in Virginia. I don't have any family there. I'm having to find my way, and I found my way back to Arkansas. I ended up moving back to Arkansas, and that was a really short version of that. But you'll catch the rest in the book if you decide to get it. But I ended up finding my way back to Arkansas and trying to pull myself together with a child at this point, and it was a mess. It was a mess, and I ended up getting myself together enough. I had got a job, one that could sustain my daughter and I, for me to live on my own, and just kind of handle my business how I needed to, and um, didn't deal with that. It was just another bag that I added to my luggage of trauma and drama and hurt and all of those things. So I didn't deal with it. I didn't know I needed to. Honestly, I didn't know I needed to. I felt like if I left the situation, it was left there. And nope, it was still with me. So with that being said, I moved about, and shit, I call myself getting online so I can find me a man. How about that? So I guess I'll just leave a little bit of that. Well, I'll leave that to the next video, because I think they give you a hard time about trying to upload videos that's too long. But that was the first half of Dana Chronicles, and just a little snippet of my life, and how things started to shape and mold who I am and who I'm having to deal with now today. And as I dig into my shadow work, and learn more about me, and find those things about me that I never addressed that I'm addressing now, and things are coming together, and I'm understanding me more, and why I move the way I move, and how to unlearn things and relearn things. It's been a ride. It's been a journey. I appreciate it. I'm very happy for spirituality, because I don't know if I would have stayed in the church. And for anybody that don't know, I'm not in the church anymore. Okay, it's a whole nother story. But had I not gone the path that I'm going spiritually, I don't know if I would have dug as deep as I'm digging, on the level that I'm digging, and finding the things that I'm finding, and dealing with them the way that I'm dealing with them, in order to get to the next stages of my life. So I'm very appreciative for my journey. And if you are on one, continue, do your shadow work. Um, don't be afraid of who you are. Just face it, deal with it, address it, and move past it. But so the next time I come on here, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start on my love online that I found, because I found one. Oh yeah, I found it. And it is a story to be told. Damn, y'all know we be a mess out here in these streets with these men. You hear me? Shit. So, with that being said, anybody that made it this far in the video, I appreciate you for watching, and drop something in the comment. Say something. Drop a heart in the comment if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. I love being transparent. I do. I know some people are very secretive, but I feel like, as far as what I'm here to do is to use different things and events in my life to help others. So I'm here for it. I don't have a problem with putting it out on the table. Whoever I can help, let's go. So with that being said, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.